Welcome to Proptech Pulse, the podcast that takes the pulse of prop technology in multifamily. I'm your host, Shelly Robinson, and each week we'll be diving deep into innovations, challenges, and the future of work in property technology and multifamily. From AI-driven property management to blockchain and real estate, we're here to explore how technology is reshaping the way we live, work, and invest in multifamily communities. Whether you're a property manager, a tech entrepreneur, an executive, or even simply curious about the future of living spaces, Proptech Pulse is your weekly dose of insights and inspiration. So let's sync our rhythms and get on with the show. It's time to take the pulse. Hi, and welcome to the podcast. I have Steve Wunch with me today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. So glad to be here. It's nice to see your face. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. I am so excited for our conversation today. You and I have chatted before. I've been on your podcast before, which I love your podcast, A Ray of Sunshine, and as are you.
Oh, thank you so much. It's nice to be on the other side of the microphone.
Totally. Well, why don't you tell our listeners today a little bit about your journey and how you got to be here today?
Sure. Yeah. So 2025 represents my 31st year in the multifamily universe. Started leasing apartments in Atlanta in 1993. Yes, we had some technology back then, but not nearly what we have now. I think if we knew then what we know now, man, we could have really rocked and rolled back then. But started on site, worked my way up to a manager role, and then kind of parlayed over to the training side of the equation. So for about 27 years of my career, actually, Shelly, I was in a training and support role. And I really love that piece of the puzzle, helping people do their jobs better, teaching them a leasing technique, and then they go back and try it and it actually works and they get really excited and it improves their results. So did that for a long time. And then just about COVID time is when I kind of stepped over to what we used to call the dark side, which is the vendor side of the house. But I now refer to it as the bright side because I'm now one of them. And I feel like, it's allowed me a lot of flexibility and a lot of balance in my life, which I love. And I love being able to help a partner improve their results. And it's sort of a similar way to support an operator, but from a different perspective. So I've been here at SalesMail for just about a year. Prior to that, I was with Leap. They do deposit replacement and rent guarantee, great product. And then before that, I was with Knot, which has now been gobbled up by that machine that you know very well. We'll say they who shall not be named, right?
I have been watching your trajectory at SalesMail. And I've also been the beneficiary of your surprise and delights at SalesMail. And I have to say, I always call you a ray of sunshine in the industry, but the product is a ray of sunshine in the industry where I think things can feel digital and cold sometimes. This feels very warm and personal. So happy work anniversary.
Thank you. Yeah, January 10th was my 1 year. And so I'm really excited. We're really excited for the future. And, to your point, like, I so appreciate that you say it's a ray of sunshine because, we got our start in the senior living sector. And when you think about, an executive salesperson at a senior living community, a really high dollar rent for those apartments are, twice, sometimes 3 times as expensive as typical multifamily apartments. And, a family who's making this decision probably in different cities in the country. And instead of just getting black and white, nameless, faceless text on a page from some stranger, this warm video message comes through. You're able to connect with somebody on a completely different level than you can through traditional communication methods. And it really makes a difference for our partners, both in senior living as well as the multifamily side of the business as well.
I completely agree. that gets us into the first segment of kind of my future in a bottle questions. What do you think are the top three things you see changing in prop tech in the industry in the next 5 years, and why?
Well, I'm hopeful that one thing that will change is it being easier to work with some of the bigger CRMs in the space. As you know, it's a difficult gauntlet to run through. It's an expensive thing, and so for smaller companies or startups, there's so many great things happening in the prop tech world right now. But for smaller companies and startups, those high dollar integration costs are really hindering our ability to serve the customers the way that we would like to. So I'm hopeful that in this future world that we're speaking into existence, we're going to manifest it today, that it'll be a little easier to play with those CRM partners. I think too, centralization will continue to be an area of focus. Not so much from a headcount perspective, like we're not cutting headcount, but we're lifting some administrative tasks off. We're making people more efficient and giving them time to do what I think is the next of the three things, which is focusing on that personalization for the customer experience and for the employee experience as well. I think we'll see folks drawn to companies that are, really working hard to create a personal connection with their team members as well as their residents and prospective residents.
I love these themes of focusing on resident experience, customer experience, on-site staff experience. And I do agree on centralization as well. Like the roles are out there, they're changing. The roles are evolving. People are doing jobs differently with efficiency now. Some companies are choosing to pod managers. Some companies are choosing to pod resident services or the assistant property managers or both. And I think software has to continue to be flexible to how those companies are choosing to centralize or choosing to evolve those roles. So those are all really great future involved.
Thanks. Yeah. And I even single family rentals, I think, you talk about those pods, they're even podding out their maintenance teams and really doing some, unique things. There's a lot of people in the space. Happy Co on the maintenance side of things. Sweet Spot, they're a Canadian company, but they do kind of the technology piece for the service teams as well. And I think it's important, we typically focus on one side of the house more than we do the other. And I think the service teams are going to find that technology is going to really become a partner for them. A lot of those techs are not computer friendly. So I'm going to encourage, if those folks are listening, if you're on the service team side of things, really embrace the technology, because it's not designed to take away your job. It's designed to, remove some of those administrative tasks that are kind of burdensome and free you up to do the things that do really matter to the business. And that's really focusing on the customer experience.
So critical, more now than ever, to give service to residents the way that they want, in the way they want. A lot of companies are really focusing on trying to simplify the tech complexity so that people are freed up to do service and not getting, especially regional property managers. The regional property manager has 6 different budget platforms and 12 different logins, plus other logins for other patients are constantly shifting. It makes it hard to do that job. So I think simplifying is a way to go too. Do you feel like, kind of on that topic, do you feel like there is an underrated prop tech solution right now that you see that's not being used enough?
I don't know. I mean, there's so much new stuff out there. It's hard to say. I mean, the newer it is, most operators don't want to be the guinea pig to try something new out. But I think, as we embrace technology more as an industry than we have in the past, and that I think is one of the good things that came out of COVID, was the fact that we had to embrace technologies like this platform we're on today, or Zoom, and all the things that allowed us to work virtually. I think owners should be more, maybe a little bit less risk averse and try things. There's no reason to not pilot something. If you think it's going to be a benefit to your team if it's going to bring you, more income, if it's going to help to streamline processes, give it a try instead of waiting until now you're going to catch up with all your competitors who've already gone that way. But I think, I don't know. I think if anything is new and underused, it's what we do at SalesMail, which is that video communication platform. And maybe we can talk about that in a little while. But, I think it's new to multifamily. They're not quite sure about what it means and putting them out into the universe. And what were you going to say?
I'm in love. I'm in love with SalesMail. I think it's a true differentiator in the industry right now. It, differentiate or die. If you're looking for an edge and to offer that personalized follow-up or even just personalized communications, I think it's a really simple, easy tool that makes an impact. Can you kind of tell us about a case study that you've implemented at SalesMail that has made an impact and kind of a difference?
Well, I think one of the things that we've seen is just the return on investment for our partners, because they, in using SalesMail, Lauren Craven is a leasing consultant that works for Allegiant Carter. She'd just been on the platform for 4 days, and she, using SalesMail, was able to close a lease sight unseen. The prospect was out of town, could not come and visit. Lauren used the app to do a quick video tour, and that's what we find folks are using it mostly for, is creating those really authentic. It's not like a professional, fancy schmancy edited video of the model. It's actually here's a authentic video of your apartment and me, your leasing consultant, really making a connection happen. And she attests, or she gives the credit to that lease to SalesMail. And we're fairly new in the multifamily space. We have a huge seat at the table when it comes to senior living, which is where we got our start. And they 100% buy into using SalesMail for prospecting, for follow-up, for resident engagement. And, the use cases are endless. I used to not sleep at night because I thought, oh my gosh, we can do this and that and the other. But yeah, I mean, it's such a great way to connect. It's such a great way to humanize all of the processes that we have. And it can be inserted into workflows. Like if you've got a chat bot that answers with a static, someone from the team will be getting back to you. How cool would it be to pop a video in there that's the property manager saying, "We're so glad you stopped by, and we're glad that you found us to be of interest. One of my team members who's on our leasing staff will be reaching out to you shortly. Here's a link below that you can click to find out more information about X, Y, and Z." It just really brings a human element to, and I think that that's missing right now.
It is. I was even thinking like your maintenance supervisor or technicians, after they do a service request with an upset resident, you can't get a hold of the resident, they're at work. You can leave them a message, tell them what you did, tell them that, you're sorry it happened, and do some service recovery that is actually leaving a personalized impact on that resident's day. So many opportunities.
Oh yeah. I mean, unlimited ways to leverage video. And, it's not just about leasing and sales. It's about serving your customers at a new level that they're not expecting. I think you used the word, what was the word you used? Delightfully surprised or something to that order.
Like
surprising delight. Yeah. I mean, why not? They're so used to getting these automated like I get an automated message every month from my property that it's rent time to pay your rent. Why not have a video? Hey, I'm the manager. Just wanted to remind you, if you've already paid your rent, thank you so much for paying on time. And if you haven't yet, click the link below and it will take you right to the payment portal where you can take care of that bad boy.
So true. That is so true. It's the difference between opening and adopting, right? Or getting the message through, or it just being more noise that feels like spam. So let's talk about AI and machine learning and kind of what you're working on. What are your thoughts on that transforming property operations and property management?
Yeah, I think it is. It's going to revolutionize things for us. I think, there's still quite a bit of trepidation when it comes to, and it's still, I do a keynote speech, Shelley, called Technology: Set It, Forget It, Regret It. And that's kind of the mindset that you need to have, especially when it comes to an AI feature or enhancement, is you can't just turn it on and pretend it's, going to do what it's supposed to. You have to trust but verify. And, I think it'll enhance things. It will improve efficiencies. I use AI on a daily basis. I'm in Chat GPT to help me create content. But it can't do all the work for me. I still have to iterate and reiterate and then choose the best parts and craft this by myself. But I'm leveraging that tool, especially on those days when I'm sure you have them too, when I'm like banging my head up against a creative wall and I can't come up with an idea. It'll seed that idea and put some water on it. And then before you know it, I've got all kinds of ideas popping in my head. So, it's just how you use it. And, we at SalesMail have implemented AI in a couple of different ways. Whenever you craft a SalesMail message, you have the opportunity to put some text in the message before you send it out. And our AI will actually listen to the recorded video and come up with some intro text. So our users can continue to record videos throughout the day. And a lot of our senior living folks and a lot of our multifamily folks will do, like, if I've got a 1-bedroom that's finally vacant, I'm going to do 6 or 7 videos so that I can send those out, personalize them. But then when they get back to the office finally and go to send those through their CRM, AI has already created that intro text. Sometimes the person's name's not spelled right. So you have to trust but verify. But that's one of our ways of lifting that. You don't have to worry about your intro text anymore. We'll take care of that for you. You can change it if you want to, but that tool is designed to help them be more efficient. And then it's also naming their videos based on the content so that it's easier for them to search and sort their videos if they want to favorite something, or if they want to go back and replay the video that I sent to Steve. It'll be easily identified by the way that AI is naming those videos for them. That's just 2 small samples of how we're leveraging AI in our operations here.
I love trust but verify, and totally on the creative rut too. And if it's helping you create efficiency to free up time for high value videos, then that's like a win-win as well. And I don't know anyone who's not looking for help in creating content. It takes a lot of thought to draft emails. So having those suggestions would be a game changer.
Yeah, for sure. It's just awesome. Makes it a little bit easier, and that's what it should be. It should be an enhancement and make our jobs easier, not harder.
Yeah. And I think too, there's even jobs in the trust but verify arena now, and kind of making sure your job is to improve the model, to pound on the model. As we talk about the future of work, there are going to be people just solely focused on making sure that AI model gets better and better. So I love the evolution of roles in the industry.
And there will always need to be that guarding principle that keeps AI on the tracks that it needs to stay on, because again, if it goes unattended, then we will end up with the Terminator world.
Totally. We don't want that. Is there a Proptech tool you can't live without?
Well, as a supplier partner, I am a Proptech tool, and I don't have much need of other Proptech tools, but as an operator, and I know that there's a lot of scuttlebutt around this idea, especially with recent DOJ cases and things that have been brought up against pricing software. But I think that pricing model is highly valued. It's not understood by the general public, and it's nothing that we haven't been doing since 1993. We would call our comps and ask for their prices and share our specials and our deposit amounts. And, it's not that we're, collaborating and creating a coup of landlords who want to stick it to the residents. It's just helping us to price. I mean, look at hotels and airlines have done it for years, and the DOJ is not in their business. So, I think that's a Proptech tool that's very much needed. It's just not well understood by the general public. And I think maybe we could do a better job as operators explaining the process to our prospects, that's where things get murky, is people fear what they don't understand. And so I think if we got better at explaining our process, when we move someone in, really going over the lease with them in good detail, and those are things that we overlook, and we just kind of leave it up to them. It's kind of that set it and forget it mentality. But I think if we did a better job explaining, those things, that we wouldn't be in the situations that we're in with some of those pricing models. But yeah, I mean, when I was at Equity Residential, they could predict street rent at expiration based on all the data that they had. So we were able to kind of set some parameters for our managers to have the ability to negotiate. They knew where we wanted to be, and they knew how low they could go to stay within the parameters of, what we were budgeting for. And it really empowered them to make decisions right there with the residents, so they didn't have to wait. And it was a great tool. And I think, there's a lot of value in that particular piece of the puzzle, in my estimation, or my opinion.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And do you have any bold predictions for multifamily in the next 10 years? Like, if you could wave a magic wand, what do you think is going to be radically different in the next 10 years?
I think it's going to be like one of those movies we watched back a few years ago, like Minority Report, where people were walking through the mall and it was facial recognition, and the products that they were interested in all of a sudden show up on a kiosk in the mall that they're walking through. I think we're going to find that kind of technology will exist very soon. It probably already exists in some parts of the world. And I think the idea of creating that personalized experience is going to become even more sought after, not just from a renter perspective, but from a customer in general perspective. I think we're gonna have different expectations, because the experience that the customer wants is going to change dramatically.
That is the ultimate personalization, that's for sure. Sometimes I make jokes now that my phone will start to deliver me retargeted ads if I'm even thinking about something.
I will tell you,
I'm like, I swear
my mother swore her and my dad one day were talking about a knee brace, and she swears, she's not here anymore, so I can't really verify anymore, but she swears that somebody called them and said, "We hear that you're looking for a knee brace." And that's why she was like, she'd put a piece of tape over her camera because she didn't want them to see or hear her. She wouldn't pay for anything online. She was one or two clicks away from the Antichrist as it was. And then for that to happen, and I'm sure you're right. I mean, I've got that device that's named with the letter A sitting on my kitchen counter, and I'm sure she's listening. Isn't that right, Alexa?
that is so funny. Well, if you could instantly implement any futuristic technology in all multifamily properties, what would it be?
Well, I'd have to say video. Every operator has some form of video that they're leveraging for their customers' experiences, whether it be prospects looking or whether it be residents experiencing. Life is better when video is part of it.
I agree with you on that. What advice would you give to multifamily and Proptech professionals looking to stay ahead of the curve in Proptech right now?
Well, I think, kind of alluding to what I said earlier, is like, don't be afraid to try it. We oftentimes will wait for other people to put their neck on the chopping block and to give it a try. But like, once that happens and it works, you're already behind the 8 ball in terms of that competitor already has the edge on you because they did take that risk. So I think, be a little bit more risk friendly and try some things out. A lot of Proptech partners will give you the opportunity to pilot or to A/B test. Keep your current solution on these 2 properties. Give us a try on these 2 properties, and let's set a goal. And if we meet that goal, then let's pull the plug and make it happen. And don't wait so long. The buying process for multifamily is so long. I know it's because a lot of times there's, red tape involved and approvals need to be done and you have to kind of take things up the chain of command, but speed up the buying process, because the slower you are to say yes to the dress, the more behind the eight ball you'll be, because your competitors are already ahead of you.
I'm kind of surprised that more property companies don't have innovation committees with like all kinds of people all the way down to the end, to the end users at the properties. Do you see a trend of like more innovation committees popping up at companies that are really focused on this type of an effort?
I think, yeah, but it's hard to say for sure. It all depends on how their organization is structured. And, I think the most important thing is looking at a solution, and instead of starting at the top and letting it filter its way down, start at the bottom with the people who are going to be using it every day, throw it at them. It's like throw that spaghetti at the wall and see what's going to stick. And those folks who are in the trenches doing the work will have the great feedback you need, whether or not it's a good solution, versus somebody at a corporate level or on a committee who's going to make a decision for them. You know what I mean?
Oh, I totally agree with you. It's back to that resident experience and back to that end user property management team experience. Well, Steve, this was a really insightful conversation today, and I was so happy that you decided to say yes. Where can our listeners find out more about you and SalesMail?
Sure. It's real easy. It's just salesmail.com, salesmail.com. I'm on LinkedIn. You can also join me, as Shelly will be, she's going to be one of our season 2 guests coming up here, I think in the next month or two, on the Multifamily Mind podcast. So would love to have you join us there. And I'm happy to connect with you on LinkedIn, and feel free to feel free to DM me if you want to.
Yeah.
Slide into my DMs, what all that is. Well, this has been fun.
So fun. And I really enjoyed my time on your podcast too, Steve. It was a really kind of deeply personal conversation as well as professional conversation. And you have a really special way about you and having conversations with people. So,
well, thank you. It's a great compliment. I really believe in getting personal before we get to business. So that's been my mantra for a long, long time.
Thank you so much. And we'll look forward to hearing what people think and joining the conversation on our episode as well.
Great. Look forward to it. Thank you.
And that wraps up another episode of Proptech Pulse. I hope this conversation has given you valuable insights and perhaps even sparked some ideas for your own Proptech journey. Remember, the future of multifamily is being written right now with every technological advance and innovative solution. So stay curious, stay connected, and keep your finger on the pulse of Proptech. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to Proptech Pulse on your favorite podcast platform and share this along with your colleagues. You can also find us on social media for bite-sized insights and updates. I'm Shelly Robinson, and until next time, let's keep innovating, disrupting, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in PropTech and multifamily. Let's build it together.